Hey guys, it's Mika. As you've seen by the title of the video and all the boxes behind me, I have moved. So we have lived at the old house for about 2 years, not quite, but around 2 years. It was just getting to be a bit much for us for different reasons. So last year, whenever we renewed the lease, the rent was raised a good bit. We could afford it, but it was just like, is it worth it? Like, for what the place was, they were charging too much for rent, and they thought that they could get away with it because we had already been there for a while and we just renewed the lease, and yeah, I guess they did get away with it for a little while. But we were just thinking, you know, we just renewed the lease, we're not ready to move yet. So it's just a 6-month lease, so we have that much time to think about what we want to do next. So we thought maybe to help with the rent, we would allow our good friends Devin and Trinity to move in with us. They were also looking for a place to move, and we just thought, you know what? We can help them, they can help us, it all works out. Well, this is the other main reason, one of them, why we wanted to move. The landlords. I say multiple because I don't know how many there are. I only talked to the main landlord once whenever we first were viewing the house, and he didn't even show up. It was like a lockbox. He gave us the code and we could view it ourselves, which, you know, I don't like interacting with people. I was fine with that. I didn't realize that was a red flag. Whenever we called him, we talked to him directly, got the okay to rent the house, but after that, I never spoke to him again. Every time I called, he had like several different employees, and every time I called, it was a different person that I was talking to. And if I had to call multiple times, like I had to re-explain my entire situation because none of the other people knew what was going on. It was a different person every time. So yeah, that was always a pain. A few months into Devin and Trinity living with us, we got a notice in the mail that they weren't allowed to live there anymore. I called about it and they were like, oh, well, they need to be on the lease. You didn't put them on the lease whenever you renewed it. Well, they moved in after we renewed it, and we tried to get them on the lease. I went and tried to go online. They had an app. I tried to sign them up, put their names in so their names would be officially on the lease, and we got denied. They would not let us add any more people onto the lease. So they pretty much said that they had 10 days, 10 fucking days, to get the fuck out, which is an insanely short amount of time. They were extremely rude about it, extremely unprofessional, and they even threatened us to kick me and my family out too if they didn't go. So yeah, they're just, lovely, lovely. It was about the time that they moved out in October that we were really talking about, you know, we don't think that we want to renew this lease again. The landlords are extremely rude. They're charging too much for what the house is worth. And listen, it is a nice house, but it has a lot of issues. First and foremost, there's not a backyard. There is a backyard, but there's not. There's really not, because when you walk out onto the deck, there's a nice back deck, I'll give it that, but there's stairs down to a hill. And what the stairs lead down to is the very bottom of the hill. And that's all the backyard there is. Obviously, I can't use a hill as a backyard. No one thought to level that out. So we literally never used the backyard. So that was one thing. Another thing is the garage is not finished. There is still drywall all around the garage, which, is that even sanitary? Like, I feel like that would fail some kind of regulations, because I feel like that would attract mold or something like that. Something that I noticed right away that I didn't like about the house, but I was like, you know what, I don't care. It's a nice house. There was kitchen tile in the living room, which I'm sure you guys have seen if you watch my vlogs. And I don't know, it gave me the ick. It was weird. And obviously when you're renting a place, you can't really replace anything. So we didn't ever really use the living room that much. We pretty much, okay, the thing that I loved about that house was the huge bedroom with an ensuite bathroom with a jacuzzi and a walk-in closet. That is the reason why I chose that house. The bedroom was that size that we pretty much used the bedroom as a living room too and spent most of our time there. Which, don't come for me, I'm aware that that's not good for your depression. But yeah, that's what we did. Another thing, the dishwasher, it worked, but very badly. It didn't clean the dishes very well. And the top drawer of the dishwasher, it didn't even come out. I had to, like, you know, if you've ever seen All Creatures Great and Small, I had to really James Harriet that bitch. So we pretty much had to hand wash our dishes because it just got to a point where we were just like, you know, this isn't working, this is too frustrating. One of the other things that really sold me on the house was the beautiful stream, the beautiful little river in the backyard. Well, not the backyard. There's a fenced-in backyard, but beyond that fence, there's a little bit of woods, and if you go through the woods, there's like a little pathway, and then there's a nice little river, and it was just very peaceful, and I loved it. But I didn't realize that on the other side of that patch of woods, like, you can't see it, but you can hear it all the time. There's some kind of like construction site, and like every weekday you could just hear beep, beep, beep all the time. And you could hear it very clearly from Atreus's room, and yeah, it's not the vibe. All of that stuff I dealt with. I was like, you know what, some of this stuff just, like, no house is gonna be perfect, you know, we live closer to the city, there's gonna be noises, blah, blah, blah. I dealt with it until just this past fall, ladybug season happened, and it never ended. I guess they got into the vents in the attic, and they would always come through, specifically the one vent in the ensuite bathroom, the bathroom that we always used. I thought it would stop after like a month because like, oh, like last fall it was ladybug season 2, and then that faded away, but it never did. They just kept coming and kept coming all the way up until we moved. Every time we went to the bathroom, we would have to get rid of the ladybugs. We couldn't really use the jacuzzi much because we would be afraid that one would fall in the jacuzzi, and we'd have to like really thoroughly check the room, and it just got really gross and annoying. It's just ick. Major ick. Also, another thing, I guess it comes with like living in a subdivision community, which is what we lived in. We lived in the end of a cul-de-sac in a subdivision. It was a very nice, peaceful community, but HOAs really, really irritating. Like, they would ask me to do some ridiculous things. Like, they asked me to paint the mailbox one time, which I thought they just wanted me to repaint the numbers on the mailbox because it was getting kind of faded, so I did that. They weren't satisfied with that. They wanted me to paint the whole mailbox again black. Like, who the fuck literally cares? And they asked me to wash the house too because they claimed there was mildew on it. But there was not. I literally took a video of the house and sent it to my mom for a second opinion, and she was like, yeah, no, there's no mildew on it, they're crazy. Basically, they just love to bitch and give me a hard time. All that being said, I still did have to think about moving for a little while because, as I said, I loved the bedroom, and most of all, I had so many memories there. As a family, we had so many memories there. For fuck's sake, it was the house that I brought Atreus home in and watched him grow up the whole first year of his life. And I spent a good bit of my pregnancy there too. So that made it really, really tough. That made it a really tough decision. But my mom actually owns properties. She owns like 10 or so properties, and she is a landlord herself. So none of those properties were available whenever we initially moved here, but she informed me in December that one of her properties, and a pretty nice one too, one of her properties became available. We were like, well, that's perfect timing. And she was going to rent it to us for a much cheaper price. Not only that, but she also offered, because she's so absolutely in love with my son Atreus, she has come to visit us almost every month for the first year of his life. She offered to take the money from the rent. Of course, some of it's going to be used on the utilities and stuff like that, but the rest of it she is going to put towards a fund that goes towards his college or his future. So that was just an offer we ultimately could not turn down, because where else do you get an offer like that? That's so nice of my mom. So very nice of her. In December, that was really, really close to when the lease was ending. So like perfect timing too, like awesome. She was willing to hold it for us for a few months till we were ready to move in. We have a big backyard here, which is great. I just purchased a riding lawnmower, which I've always wanted one of those, but I've never had a big enough lawn for it, and now I do. The house itself is a bit smaller. It's 1 floor instead of 2 floors, but I'm perfectly fine with that, because honestly, with all of the space in the old house, we didn't even use all of it, and it did get annoying having to go down. The stairs were pretty steep, and it got annoying having to go down them every time we needed something from the kitchen. I mean, call me lazy, but it's nice having the kitchen a few steps away from the bedroom. Very convenient. There is also the master bedroom, which is our bedroom. There is still an ensuite bathroom with a jacuzzi, which is awesome. It's hard to go back once you have one, so I was thinking when we moved out of that house I would have to give it up, but we didn't even have to, so that's great. The bedroom's smaller, but the living room's right outside the bedroom, so hey, that's good for my mental health, right? I'll actually be spending a good bit of time in this living room. It's very nice too. My mom, she wanted a few things changed about the house, like painting the walls of certain rooms, so she let me pick out the paint for the 3 bedrooms. If I want anything else changed about the house, she just told me to let her know and she'll see what we can do. And that's just great. I have more control over that, which is awesome. This is kind of the house where I'm gonna like try to experiment a little more with interior design. I've never been the best at it, but I wanna get better. I wanna try some things, see what I like. I will say this place is a bit farther away from the city. It's about 30 minutes farther away from the city than where we already were, which was about 20 minutes away from the city. So that kind of sucks, but also it's not that bad because it is closer to where my grandma lives, which she is the initial reason why I moved to North Carolina in the first place. And it is more in the middle of town. There's literally stores that I could walk to. Everything is like 10 minutes away at tops. At the old house, everything was like 20 minutes away. We kind of lived more in the rural suburbs of the area. There was nothing that we could really walk to, so it's very convenient here. I will say though that this is not a permanent move. This is a temporary move. While we are living here, we do want to work on figuring out the next move. We haven't decided where to yet. We're thinking closer to Pennsylvania than we are now, but not back to Pennsylvania. While we're here, we want to think about that, scope out some areas, figure that out, and hopefully within about a year, we can actually purchase a house that will hopefully be our forever home, or at least our home for the foreseeable future. Because, oh my God, I am tired. I am so tired of moving. I have moved so many times since I left my parents' house. 7 moves in 7 years. I am done, okay? I really want this to be over at least. I want to move to another place. Who knows what the future holds? I'm not gonna say forever, but for a long time. But right now, this place is perfect for everything that we need. I'm making this video just a few days after we moved here. As you can see, I didn't get much unboxed yet, and that's because I've been trying to settle. It's been stressful, Very stressful. Moving is stressful. The memories at the old place was really hard to say goodbye to. I'm still going back to the old place one more time because there was a few extra things that could not fit in the car. Plus I'm going to check the mail one more time and then I'll have to call and say that we have left. So we didn't say the final goodbye yet, but oh my, it's just, it was a lot. I said I wouldn't cry, but I did cry a little bit the first night that we were here. I didn't film it because it was right after I got out of the shower and it was ugly, but you know, we're doing okay. A lot of stressors happening, but you know, it's good to have this mostly over, except for the stuff that I need to unpack. That's it, and then we'll be settled here. I'm still getting used to this place because I'm so used to doing everything at a certain place, in a certain way and everything at the old house. And now I'm having to figure out all new places where to put stuff. I was literally, the other day I was cleaning one of Trace's bottles and I was just standing there like, this is so freaking weird. I'm not used to doing this here. I'm used to doing this at the old sink. I guess that's with every move. It takes a minute to get used to, so I'm staying positive about it. This is once again, a great opportunity for us. The thing that I've been saying over and over again is at the end of the day, yes, it's hard to move on from certain chapters and certain places, but at the end of the day, it's not the places where the memories happened, it's who you spent them with. Everyone that I spent those memories with came with me. We are all sticking together. We're all stuck together like glue. We're a family, and that's not going anywhere. Gonna be okay. I'm really, really excited to see what this next chapter brings, and I hope you guys will join me. Oh, one more fucking thing that's a huge benefit of this area. There's the sheets. There's no sheets in Charlotte. There's a sheet here. Oh my gosh, mozzarella sticks. But okay, yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for coming along with me. All right, bye. Hey guys, you haven't gotten rid of me yet. Just a couple of things real quick. First of all, I have Lena here, munching on some catnip. Secondly, I just want to say that this video is supposed to be a two-part video. I had some vlog footage of me doing the moving process and everything. It was supposed to be in one video, but I talk way too much, so now it's going to be in the next video. And lastly, I also just want to say that once again, since I talked way too much, I had to cut some stuff out of this video because it was going to be too long. So I decided to cut out some parts of the video where I was talking about just how stressful the move was because of how inconsiderate, rude, and kind of sexist the movers were. I say movers, but really it was my dad and his friend. I just thought I didn't want this video to be too negative, so yeah, I cut that part out. But I still have the footage, and if you would like to know the tea, I will post it on my Patreon if I can get to 5 patrons. I currently don't have any. Just so you know, Patreon is a way that you can tip creators. And personally, I don't make any money off of YouTube. I do this completely free, which is fine, but if you do like my content, you can always show your support. It is just $2 to sign up for tier 1. So yeah, I would really appreciate it if you could do that. Thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.